it's very hard to describe. And of course, making projection, I never experienced the regime that is so much the world. So we face challenges.
You have talked a lot about how in the Soviet Union that you grew up in, there was a kind of ongoing myth of good Lenin, bad Stalin. How did that kind of filter into your thought, particularly as you were getting older and towards the end, what became the end of the Soviet Empire?
Yeah, it's very important, just to analyze these certain stages of self-control, because every dictatorship, it's like a religion, ideology has been built on cause. It's not just so economists back in the early days, country where we had propaganda machine, even though primitive during the time that tried to build this commons and convince people certain things that were contrary to their previous beliefs. Soviet Union started with Lenin, and Lenin's called Stalin used it, and then it's Stalin death, they Communist Party bosses like to separate. So again, they were very cautious. They reveal Stalin's role with terror, but they always try to separate, make sure that there were excesses. Just to keep the system, from there were also attempts to rehabilitate Stalin, so this is in later years, so there was more about Stalin's role in World War II. But then, during Gorbachev's years, Stalin became the number one target. So that's the thing. And they desperately tried to keep Lenin out of that, but it was impossible. More and more people looked it's connected. And the irony is today, Putin's Russia. Rome for Rome. Putin's regime, they keep Lenin in the Mazowiecka, they don't care. But it's not Lenin, it's Stalin. Stalin is the hero. Lenin is just its ideology. Stalin is just pure culture. So that's why in today's Russia, in Putin's Russia, Putin's dictatorship, it looks at Stalin, Ivan the Terrible. So this is those, figures of Russian and Soviet history as the role models. Because Stalin, at the end of the day, just didn't care very much about ideology. Communist leader, but it's power. It's power, it's terror, it's spreading the influence, building empires, and that resonates very much with modern Russian people.
When you were in the Soviet Union, did you think of yourself, you're part Jewish, you're part Armenian, but you were growing up in Azerbaijan, but you were part of the Soviet system, but you often talk about yourself as Russian because the culture you grew up in. How did you come to a kind of, what was your sense of personal identity in the Soviet Union? And I guess, was anybody a Soviet, or were they always some subgroup within the Soviet Union?
Lines were very blurred. As for me, I grew up in the family of sport. The only family. My mother was very liberal. My grandparents did, but my mother and the sisters, they had very limited knowledge because they visited the lands of France during the summer vacation in school. So I grew up in a city that no university. Unlike capitals of neighboring constituted republics, Yerevan, capital of Armenia, or Tbilisi, capital of Georgia, Baku was marginal, and Russian was being so that's why my from early days, my pilgrimage was Russian culture was very like being a citizen of the time. When people ask me to, you left Azerbaijan, I had to leave after almost 90 years, but you're born there, so now you live in another country. I said, no, I was born in a country that Moscow was better. And after the collapse of the Soviet Union, I stayed in the country that Moscow was better. Somehow, you can just view people like me as a friend for Nigeria or the great war and so on. So it's just, yeah, when things changed, so we just had to move to trouble because we belong there. I had strong, spiritual relationships with Israel, but this is, yeah, it still doesn't fit my identity. So as you see, I often some help, but nothing to do to Armenian refugees. So just selling a lot of my products after these tribes events in Baku, and I was always very supportive of fighting for the of course, I'm very supportive of Israel, but it's probably more because I worked after these tribes events in Baku, and I was always very supportive of fighting for the independence of Palestine. Of course, I was very supportive of Israel, but it's probably more because of my faith in autocratic tyrannical. So that's just, democracy was a very, very important element in this approach. So far more supportive of Israel. Just because Armenia there's also some form of autocracy. But all connections were with Russia, and that's why we moved. Myself, my mother, our sister. So we all moved to Moscow. So we belong there, and it's and calling ourselves Russians. I don't know how we describe it. In 2006, I even wrote an article called "Russian Political Nation," arguing that somehow we should view ourselves as American. We could be American Europe, Italian, we're still Americans. So it's not about roots, it's about creation. So unfortunately, in Russia, we haven't reached the point. And that's one of the risks of uniting our Russia had to accept the collapse of the empire, but it hasn't stopped being. So it's just mental services between Russia hasn't changed itself into national state. Whereas in national state, the state will control over Russia, so this is no matter. It has different roots, Armenian, Tatars, Ukrainians, well, and that's what Yeltsin failed, or eventually delayed the process. And of course, Putin stopped it towards the end, after the So Russia is just it's another limit because it's no longer an empire with someone phantom presence of this lost imperial grandeur, and it's never historically in United States. That's why Putin's regime always tries to revive this old things. Not with much success because that doesn't last. But still, the long grasp of the Russian Empire, they could be held in the part of Georgia, Ukraine, and God knows where else.
What was it like to encounter the writings of Alexander Solzhenitsyn, which I understand that you read those abroad in Russia? What was that like when you're traveling under the aegis of the Soviet system that produced you, and that is paying the bills, and then you're reading this incredible critique of the system?
I read Solzhenitsyn. I really knew about towards the but we could hear parts of that on the radio, so you could read some different stuff. But in full, I read it. And Solzhenitsyn's importance was to demonstrate that it was not about system. It was not about Stalin. It was about the system itself. It's a system built on terror, on denial of fundamental human rights, on ideology that is because it doesn't for the instant promote these most of the Western agenda. It was a very important contribution to the education milestone. And we could keep adding these, not just like the region, so long we need to keep out of it. But they help to understand that the system was beyond repair. So it's any attempt to actually find, this is the right moment in history. So yes, if we did that, it helped to crystallize my views about the system. And that's why by the end of the 80s, I knew that I would have that comment, because that's this system, and these feelings I get harder. I'm seeing now violently, and I'm terrified to see that many Americans have sympathies for the party without understanding it.
Can you explore that a little bit more? What sympathies do Americans have with communism?
It's communism and socialism. It's just things that America never experienced. But they became popular because people don't recall what happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And of course, that was ancient history.
Right.
So I spoke to many Americans when I just had my book Winter is Coming published, and speaking to younger audiences, I think that many of them, they couldn't tell apart the Cold War and the Trojan War. So it's this something that belonged to ancient history, and unfortunately, this is at the end of the Cold War, America lost its way. So it was since 1991. I think geopolitically, this was no Captain America. So there. Since 1946-45 to 1991, it was worse. I think it's just also by falling that it was charged by the Democratic administration, by Truman, and it was finished by Reagan, by Republicans. And since 1991, America failed to come up with a new vision. So what's next?
So what was the vision? What was the vision that America was following or enacting from the end of World War II to the end of the World War?
We saw communism, and I'm a big fan. I was too. Reevaluated this
right.
That's world saving half of the planet from communism. And these instincts, helping to stand and stop. Because people say, oh, Putin is Stalin. Harry Putin is going to Stalin. The height of Stalin's power. It's not about, it's not about strength or lack of political will on the side of the world. And it was a course, that's convincing everybody, from Poles to friends, from dictators to the oppressed. America was there, and that's what we see today. America is no longer there.
Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. So what were the defining attributes, and particularly from somebody who grew up in the Soviet Union, what were the defining attributes, other than anti-communism, that Americans stood for? Look, why was America good beyond simply being anti-communist?
No, it's really anti-communism. American anti-communism was viewed as anti against communist destruction, because those of us who read books, listen to the radio, and especially travel abroad, we knew that there was a better world outside or on the other side of Iron Curtain. But this world had to be protected. And America was the guardian. America was the leader.
And it was a world.
For us, it was a proverbial shining city of hope.
Yeah. And that is that tied to the abundance that we talked about?
It's a supremacy. It's a land of opportunity. So I first time I traveled to America was in 1988. So yes, I was really world champion. I was 25, so I already traveled, just across Europe. And that was still, quite an impression. So this is the first time landing in New York. So though again, I was financially dependent. I was so different from many of the Soviet competitors. I still was impressed. But key is, this is America was a factor, and that's what we need. Yeah, the Soviet Union, whatever they wanted, to do around the world, they had to face American opposition. And in the 90s, it's probably just until the end of the of Bush 43 presidency, people knew that America was there, and unfortunately, over the last 30 years, we see the American factor, America as a geopolitical factor, is simply vanishing.
So beyond military projection, and in America obviously has been in the world in the past 20 years. I mean, we were in Afghanistan, we were in Iraq, we have military bases all over the place. Where did we go missing? And in the 90s, Bill Clinton, he dispatched troops and bombs all over the place. But you're saying that there was not a direction.
It's not about things. It's not about
Right.
It's not about it's about political will. People said so. And American prestige was needed. And it's about pictures of Saigon, of statues of Saigon. They, stuck in the minds of but it was people in power. Just was waiting for that to take the power, and everybody knew that it was just, it was not an accident, but it was a bumpy road. So yes, it's the American got down in South Vietnam, but it was a local time. So and of course, this is in 1991, American stock was the highest in the world. So democracy was dominant. A lot of people believe that would be the end of history. It's
Right.
one of the most popular books of the time, the end of history. And it's the end of this history doesn't end. Evil doesn't disappear. It could be buried under the rubble for 30 years. But the moment we lose our influence and turn to replacement,
So it's that the United States stopped being a kind of promoter and defender of democracy?
It's more about, the guidance. Because the end of the Cold War meant we had to look for new plans.
Right.
In 1945, 1946, there were new United Nations. And then America, helped to build these institutions like NATO. By the way, domestically, it had National Security Council, CIA, Voice of America, turning to make propaganda machine, Marshall Plan for Europe, all the plans there. And it had been carried out by Democrats and Republicans. Yeah, you could see the differences.
But there was a broad consensus.
Exactly, there was a broad consensus. Yeah, this is when you go back to, let's say, the post-Starlight debate between Nixon and Kennedy. They debated about needs, not about goals. Since 1991, America was, as a world leader, was failing because it had no plan. So how do we do it in the world? Because United Nations was, the main idea behind the end was to prevent World War III. And, it's just to stop, open confrontation between USSR and the United States, to avoid, any chance of nuclear armageddon. So, in 1962, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, it was not with UN, just for direct communication. So, but still, UN was there to have to talk about it, to freeze conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Since 1991, we have to look for a new entity to solve problems, not to freeze them.
Is the problem with that, because I'm thinking we're 20 years into, we just ended 20 years of occupation of Afghanistan. There's been, in the United States since the early 21st century, there's been a global war on terror that we've been prosecuting. Can you explain how that is not getting the job done that you're talking about here?
Yeah, we should go back to the end of the Cold War and the lack of so what could be the future like with own loss? I thought it was a time to actually pitch, the so that people not to rely on institutions where the papers for themselves. So it's just it plays a joke. It's the living within New York because it's also the catwalk of the papers.
Right.
And while now we can just argue about the context of
Yeah.
I still think that the group itself, the legal solution, as US president. But again, there was no centralized plan. It was a good try. But I think it's psychologically Americans were no longer, supporting this. It goes back to the reason why we see this communism, socialism, because people forgot about lessons of history. Americans knew that they had to go separate. America saved, Europe in 1917 during the World War I, and saved the world in World War II by disintegrating and Hitler it's we reached the point where they were sacrificed. So don't look for benefits. So let's do this, and it's the stock market rallies, new technologies. We live in a world, where we forget about enemies because who cares? America is too strong to. Yes. When Bill Clinton became president, America was very powerful. When he left his office, Al Qaeda was ready to strike.
Can I ask, let me play devil's advocate. There's no question that socialism, both as a concept and as a set of policies, is more popular now than it was 40 years ago, 30 years ago. How would you talk to somebody like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or a democratic socialist in America saying, what I want is free health care for everybody. What I want is a minimum wage that is $15 or $20. What I want is equal opportunity for everybody. How is that a threat to, how is that like socialism under the Soviet Union? Or what lessons from history are contemporary socialists in America forgetting when they push?
Вітаю.
Many great quotes from this great politician of the 20th century of all time. Socialism is the religion of Hegel, the creed of heroism, and the gospel of Anton. Yeah. And let's start with semantics. And I don't know whether AOC understands it, whether she's too young, maybe she does. Many of the followers do not. Thirty something that one does. This is not a man who just embraced socialism by accident. Someone who decided to have his honeymoon in the Soviet Union, had strong affection to Soviet socialism. Now they call themselves democratic socialists and pretend that they are like social democrats in Europe. But the reverse of these words actually makes a great deal of difference. It's very important which one is now and which one is actually. So the social democrats in Europe, in Scandinavian countries or in Germany, they are trying to do exactly what you said. They are trying to find some kind of social power. Well, can you really disagree with that program? Some of them are more on the right, some of them more on the left. But again, they're all acting in the region. It's about improving conditions for individuals in the system, fighting for better deals for working people, and looking for certain social and benefit. The moment you reverse the world, it's like democratic socialism. And the suggestions that came from far left in America, they are just, they go way beyond simple improvements of working conditions or healthcare benefits. They're all connected. The attack on the very foundation of this country. Calling this country will not do. So bringing together all issues, from environmental to racial. And using them, by the way, legitimate concerns for their agenda. In Britain, for instance, many of these green activists, they call watermelon politicians. They're green on top, red inside. So I could smell it, and I grew up in this country, that their agenda goes way beyond simple improvements of conditions for working women and for food. And while American political system, or maybe economic system, it's not perfect, but it still offers more opportunities for people of all races and gender, and coming from all different quarters than any other country in the world. And the radical suggestions that we receive from this quarter, from the far left, aim, in my view, just aim at cementing America as the global factor. And also, speaking about rights and about and protecting minorities here, they turn a blind eye to the worst dictators in the world. The same people who are arguing about brutality in America, they're willing to close their eyes, turn a blind eye to legal genocide, or to narco state in Venezuela, or the slavery things in Africa. That's a big problem, because it also diminishes America's leadership role in the eyes of people like me and millions of others who are just confused that America is now just going against itself.
Talk a bit about your plan in your book from 2015, Winter is Coming, Why Putin and Other Enemies of the Free World Must Be Stopped. Talk about the need for a league of democratic nations who will actually foreground democracy as an organizing principle for kind of international accord, as opposed to what we have in the UN, where each country is kind of treated as legitimate. We don't worry too much about what's going on inside. Why is democracy so important to your worldview in terms of and the way that America should ally with other countries?
Democracy is important for pragmatically, because democracy offers us the best chance to advance the present humanity. So those who still argue about different systems, look at China, look at America. I can tell you, yes, let's look at China, look at America. China gave us violence, America gave us humanity. That's it. That's it. It's just, you don't have to go that far. So this is only three people come up with advanced technologies that help humanity. That's happened all the time. So this is, when we look at the performance of the scientists, inventors in the field versus our people, it's all and trying to look at China and to impose some of these Chinese accomplishments on American soil will be counterproductive. And again, America was and is still unique by its ability to generate innovations. And when you look at American job market and look at American science, you can see this as the immigration is still playing a key role, because it's so many people who come in. They bring their vigor, their passion for success, and America can embrace it. America offers the best opportunity for this talent to be found and explored.
So on the one hand, if you have a Democratic Party that is kind of in the United States that is kind of, if not quite embracing, but is housing people like AOC and Democratic Socialists of America. On the other side, you have a right-wing, a conservative party. You've been outspoken against Donald Trump for all of your time in the public eye. But you have a Republican Party that is incredibly hostile to immigration, even and increasingly free trade. So, how do you address the Republican side of that? If on the left, people seem to be stupid about history. They haven't learned the lessons of history. They don't understand the continuity of controlling the economy to control people. On the right, you have this rise of really stark nativism and kind of America alone. How do you convince those people that immigrants like you are not a threat to the country, but rather a future?
No.
It's not the only scene. they try to turn a blind eye on power abuse in the past years. And if we just try to look at those excesses, I put this in fringe. It both I call it the weeds of another culture. So one could get this because we don't know what to do. This country now is forced to choose at every election for less than people. And this country that was built on striving for excellence. And all of a sudden you say, oh, this is bad, this is worse. So the last two elections, according to Trump, Trump was just about who he is. And that's really bad. And that's how democracy dies. You can act simultaneously. People say, oh, Hitler won elections in Germany. He never won it. The best result was around 68% in 1952. But the communists maybe was 16%. Which means, let's say, the majority of Germans voted against the communists. Right now, I see that here in America, it becomes it's not even populist, it's tribalism. I belong to this tribe, and whatever happens on my side is bad. And it's every time that we have a crisis here, we hear people pointing fingers. This is and it's so, I wouldn't call it double standards. It's purest form of hypocrisy when Democrats try to use open this crisis, going to Trump time. It's a hypocrisy because you know it's hard. But when the Republicans say, oh, why are you doing that? Ignoring the fact that Trump signed it in his horrible. And when you look at every debate now, Trump is in the office and you see our president on the left, oh, executive order, terrible, how did you do that? Biden had it office and the same demand, now you have to sign orders and Trump's executive orders. That's the way to go.
How do you get back to a world of good faith argumentation? Because that's one of the things that I'm thinking of. Sartre used to talk a lot about good faith and bad faith arguments. And we seem to be in a world now where almost everybody's making bad faith arguments. What are, how do you shift that so that we stop having these kinds of awful arguments?
I think that's bringing us back to what America is and what America wants to be. It's about America's role in the world. And that's why, both extremes are wrong, because they try to pretend that America should for different reasons, should be removed from the world stage. Obama was very apologetic, and Trump, who just America first. America needs to separate itself from the world, because it's a world that doesn't tolerate that. You walk away, you tell me where to get to. The whole idea, we can walk away, we can just, be friends, we can shake hands, kiss, hug, kissing, hugging, wrong, it failed. And now the time to come up with a vision for the future is long term.
I think for a lot of libertarians who are reasoned primary audience, the idea of an American presence in the world is a good one as long as it's not completely yoked or largely yoked to military presence, including intervention and whatnot. Can you talk a little bit, are you talking about, and George W. Bush certainly did a lot to drive down American attitudes, positive attitudes towards America by his foreign policy. Bill Clinton did it himself. How do you separate this out, or is it inherently in the world that we talk about America as a hegemon, it's got to be militarily in place all over the place, or is it, what are the connections?
It's not just about military force or economic power or technical advantage. It's about political will, it's about plan, it's about a vision. It's what I call American tactics. Ronald Reagan used the force once small relations. But everyone using it. It's not about using it. It's about telling people that are good. When Stalin wanted to take over what was Berlin, Harry Truman said, we shall stay here. Has to human's ability to act in new ways. So to be the God of Japan, and many other things that he did, prove to Stalin that, you better play it safe. I think that we need we need to recover this reputation. That's the U.S. president is the leader of the free world, and it's not that America is trying to make deals. You rush from one extreme to another. You have Trump, who abandons all allies, and then Biden wants to please Germany and accept Nord Stream 2, which is a horrible decision that emboldens Putin to continue his aggressive policies. So, where is the vision? Where is this stability that could, offer friends of democracy worldwide, some confidence, and to make enemies, our foes, like Chinese communists or Putin, thinking about the consequences. Military force is the last resort. It's still not. I think in Afghanistan it was inevitable. Iraq, we could question it. But Afghanistan was inevitable because America was attacked. And for those who say the mission failed, I strongly disagree, because all I know that 20 years ago, terrorists who were trained there, the terrorist attack that had been initiated from Afghan soil killed more Americans in one day than the Japanese fleet at Pearl Harbor. And for 20 years, America will not attack. So when you say, oh, we spend so much money there, yes, but again, America will not attack. And what I will say about President George W. Bush, who's 43, he became president when America was attacked, and whether we measure his presidency by economic failure in 2007, 2008, financial crisis, or other things, let's remember, America under him was not attacked anymore. So it's about a world where we can no longer be safe because we are separated from the rest by two oceans. And the technology is a double-edged weapon. It helped us to advance the cause of freedom. It also helped terrorists to build their networks. And ironically, the world is getting smaller, and more invented. But also forces terrorists and people to confront America because they have no other choice but to show their opposition, their jihad against the free world, because otherwise they have to explain why the reason said it's so different.
In your work with the Human Rights Foundation, do you find that the problem with democracy now, it's not so much that individual countries are proxies for superpowers, like whether the Soviet Union or the United States, but it's homegrown kind of tyranny, right? So is more of the work being done not to block out Chinese influence as much as it is to actually kind of open up countries that now have autocracies, authoritarians, tyrants, who are homegrown?
Yeah, but it's sort of simple. Yes, they're homegrown, but what is the foundation of their power? Money. And where does it come from? From the free trade. When I say free trade, for them selling national goods, or labor, cheap labor is done. And where is money kept? So this exchange allows them to generate enough cash to keep the population going, but also to fund their geopolitical advantage. And also this tons of money that has been generated around the world, and we don't want to waste our time on the financial devaluation of currencies and the policies that might backfire in the future. But the fact is that so much money is available. For instance, I always say that Vladimir Putin controls more money than any other individual in human history. When you look at the combined funds that he can move around, so you probably reach the amount of $1 trillion. You look at Russia, the different funds that control Russian government and all of their fortunes. They're definitely going to channel money under the construction. So it's an insane amount of money, and he's not shy to use them to bribe politicians and public figures in the world. So what Putin did, he exposed, the corruption. Not only Russia corrupts the electoral system. Here is still the problem. Less American than Europe. They really find the influence of Russian money everywhere, from the Baltic states to San Francisco. So China rose because of the old trade with the world, using Chinese labor to generate enormous amount of money. So, and when people say, oh, this is China could be the leader of the world, you know, if America goes bust, so China, what China going to say? So when China, if China goes bust, I think America proved to be self-sustaining. Because again, the difference between America and America became superpower mostly using domestic and domestic market. So before American expansion after World War II, Americans was just global economy. So the kingdom, they don't have the same domestic consumption that can sustain the economic growth. So that's why it's not one way street,
Right.
but it's two-way street. But unfortunately, no less is this that we go to the wall, the magic wall.
What are the best ways then to use, the global market system as an engine or as a motivator for change, for increasing democracy, for increasing the rights of
Okay, so it's make sure that the money laundering, that money laundering is not will not help them to stay in power. It's if military sanctions imposed to Putin's oligarchs, the regime may not survive. But the problem is that who's going to impose the sanctions is so engaged in operations that somehow have this Russian money. I was talking about tens, $100 billion spread around. Just one simple example. Last year, the biggest charity donor in the UK was Alisher Usman, who donated to various charity causes £4.2 billion. One oligarch, £4.2 billion. Imagine how much of this money landed in charity organizations that have political influence. And this is one oligarch. Imagine, this is how much money has been invested, quote, in the organizations in other countries. And you will not be surprised why Macron and Merkel are just, showing more concerns about Putin's favors than about democracy in Ukraine, safety in Ukraine, or in relation to the United States.
Are you, your life has been spent in an era of incredible change, right? The past 60 years, essentially. Are you optimistic about the future or pessimistic? And can you separate that out from your Russian identity?
I'm an ecologist by nature, so that's why to me, be pessimistic about the future is quite a contradiction in my instincts. But I try to be the realist. So I thought that Putin's influence is not so likely because the free world will take decisive steps to cut it short from financially secure and definitely find ways to split Putin from great chunk of Russian movement by using financial means. I was wrong. The opposition to Russia is people march with me or by word. Never had a single word. The only violence in the streets of Russia is demonstrations of himself and violence all the world. The only violence came from the other people are as I was jailed, aggressive alone, or killed by person. So don't prefer really reason problem. I would not expect that come back to Russia soon. Many years think about it, and then my mother died just last year. But while I remain optimistic because I believe that humanity is always moving forward and upward. Though it's not simple as one way. And I think we are business to celebrate because we're finding these things and also exploring this way. So there's all the big successes. There's both NASA and Elon Musk having the kind of this giant global crisis caused by the virus and bomb conflict. It still would take time for us to find out that. That's a problem. I think the word that looking at America as a global leader, and I say it without full confidence, but simply because it's a default outcome. So there's no one else who needs to do it. I'm not yet saying political rule of the American system. I don't see any politicians or any public figure that could eliminate nation. And also the country is so badly divided. So it's called will not stand. So I think we cannot lose them. I think it's something that's been built in history. Because while we are pessimistic today, look at America, look at Europe, I always think, okay, what about 1940? What people thought in 1940? Not even 1941. So this how the world was 1941. So we have many more moments in history where to be remembered. So I think now we still have many components for the free world to succeed. And now when we are talking about the collapse of the Soviet Union, again, we know all dictatorial regimes, they fail because they cannot carry the same continuous policies that could satisfy their people. And that's the difference between democracy and unfree world. Because democracy can offer the sustainable growth. We can have many debates, but I think what's important is to make sure that the self-criticism in America is not turned into self-regulation. So America, still, remembers its role in the world. And for those on the right or the left, or libertarians, I have this simple message. It's, America has to recover herself. So just to recognize its unique role in human history. Debates can continue about certain moments in history or about certain tactical things, but you have to start with a strategy. Strategy is something that has been missing, and strategy means that you have your goals and you know what you have to reach them.
Can I also just ask very quickly, when you say China is responsible for the virus, are you saying it started there and then spread out, or just as a matter of infection, or? I mean, do you think that it was engineered by the Chinese government, or how, when you talk about China as the source of COVID-19?
Look, I don't pretend to have any information to the spread of the virus, but I did my own research, collected data from open sources, and what I know, again, it's not a secret that. The program run in Wuhan Institute was international. The lab was built by French. It had American money, American taxpayers' money, also supporting it, because during Obama years there was a ban on this very dangerous research. Most of the work that was conducted there also originated in America by Professor Barak from North Carolina. And this Batwoman, this infamous Batwoman, she was one of his students. So I don't know why this research had been conducted over years, from almost 2 decades, having the spike and just creating these viruses. But clearly, it was in the lab, and it was quite amazing that so many scientists now signed this. This is these early papers denouncing it and talking about wet market and some other crazy ideas that never materialized. We understand why WHO didn't want to blame China because that said corruption. It's amazing that on January 23rd, WHO 2020, WHO had a press conference at the World Economic Forum in Davos. They talked about anything but COVID. The day China closed Wuhan. Now, I don't know whether there was a malign intention behind Chinese plans to develop the virus. It remains to be found. So I would not be surprised, by the way, because there were some rumors among Chinese and the dissidents that that it could be developed there just to subdue Hong Kong and Taiwan. I don't know. I don't buy it. I don't know. But it came out of the lab, and China was sitting on this news, and most likely, as we saw now, it happened much earlier than December. So September, October, it came out of China. They tried to suppress the news. They definitely used their leverage with WHO, that's why it came from China. So we don't even have to go deep down to find out whether there's any malign intention. Basically, let's take guilty for withholding data and not closing Wuhan, not separating the infected areas from the rest of the world. So, and again, there was a vaccine from China. Yes, they did vaccine, but let's say that was not the most effective one.
Gary Kasparov, thank you for talking to Reason.
Thank you for inviting me.
Да, интересно. Интересное интервью. Ну, да. Ну ладно. На тебе лайк. Хорошее интервью. Да. Yes. Да, интересное интервью. Так, ну что, я немножко поработал тут, я поменял, в общем, оборудование, я вернул оранжевый мой, значит, как сказать, опрыскиватель, хотя он не опрыскивает, он распыляет больше. Ну, ладно, в общем, я вернул свое дешевое и очень экономная, но при этом очень слабое оборудование, потому что оно, конечно, очень экономное. Да, ты можешь вообще не тратить ничего на удобрения. Но, с другой стороны, вот эти баги с ним, если оно упадет, это первое. Второе, если я убираю все, скажем так, читерские штуки, то придется так работать с этим старым оборудованием. И тоже оно относительно дешевое, то есть то стоило 2000, это стоит 6000. И это тратит, конечно, удобрение гораздо сильнее. То есть вот это удобрение, оно то есть, например, у вас есть 1000 литров, и вы сможете удобрить полей на 8000. То есть 6000 уйдет на удобрение. Вы удобрили на 8, и за 2 купили удобрения, фактически 6. Вот. Но зато оно работает очень быстро. Это, конечно, минус, потому что тут поля очень маленькие, и это меня немножко беспокоит. Но вот если бы я нашел какое-нибудь тоже экономное, там я, конечно, добавил кое-что. Если бы я нашел экономное удобрение, экономное оборудование, при этом оно было бы маленьким, Вот такое, допустим, 1600, 7 метров. А я не могу увеличить? Нет, не могу. Тут могу увеличить, да? 17. А, это понятно, что. Ну, кстати, хороший вариант. А ну-ка, дизайн, колесики. Ну вот это еще можно попробовать, потому что я купил, значит, за 6000, за 7000. И оно работает на 20 километров, 18 метров. А тут за 3700, тоже 18 метров, 20 километров. Да, можно вот это купить, посмотреть, как оно будет работать. Да, что купить? Или взять в аренду? В аренду могу взять, оно не такое дорогое, в принципе. То было 2, это 3. Да. Поедем. Попробуем новое оборудование, как оно будет работать. Посмотрим. Надо будет сравнить скорость распыления. Вот, например, за 10 секунд сколько? Раз, два, три, 4, 5. За 5 секунд. Давай еще раз. Раз, два, 3, 4, 5. Ну да, где-то так. Допустим, за 5 секунд 10 литров распыляется. Сейчас привезем то, посмотрим, сравним. Если будет меньше, это будет успех, потому что то гораздо дешевле, а объем такой же. О, уже 14 часов, неплохо. Так, мне чуть полегче стало, это хорошо. Значит, я просто не поел, а надо было покушать. Так, сбрасываем удобрение и поедем продадим эту штучку. Надо было, конечно, ее помыть. Вот как всегда забыл помыть. Сколько там? Ну, 300 баксов потерял. Хорошо, 300 так 300. Продать. Да, и продать. Да. Техника продана. Теперь попробуем взять это в аренду, посмотрим, сколько оно, как оно будет работать. Да, в принципе, я могу 1000 оставить, все равно я покупаю, да. Нет, это не надо, эти понты, не нафиг надо. Так, арендовать, да? Или купить? За час работы, за день 34, а за час работы 72. Да, ладно. Пробуем. Не падай носом, не клюй. Так, набираем. Ну, набирается отлично. Хорошо. Угу. И тут зацепочки правильные абсолютно. Это очень тоже хорошо. Так, бум, подняли. Так, что там у нас? Отъезжаем. Интересно, а какой была первая версия? Потому что я вот этот магазинчик помню. На какой-то карте, очень похожей карте, был, наверное, такой же магазинчик. Вот. Но эта карта гораздо... Вау, ты, твою мать! Что мне теперь делать? Это там должен быть выезд. Что это? Ну... Так. Где там, что там, где там, что там? Что? Мне все-таки надо поехать получить права. Такой талант пропадает. Так, ну что, теперь берем и делаем то же самое, да? Раз, два, 3, 4, 5. Ну, почти то же самое. Но зато гораздо дешевле. Так что да, в принципе, этот мод получше. Хорошо. Это оборудование лучше. Веночек порешал. Что тут у меня? Ну вот, хорошо, да. Ой, что это я уселся? Пора на автомате уже. Надо все-таки начинать покупать коров. Не знаю, правда, каких. В принципе, можно, конечно, этих гольштейнов брать. Ну да, можно брать гольштейнскую. Или ждать. Сколько можно ждать уже? Так, что тут у меня? Посев. Ну вот эта вот штука мне обойдется в сумасшедшую сумму. Я потрачу все свои все свои посевы. А вот прополка была бы, да, прополка была бы актуальна. Что там у меня? Что у меня там с собственностью? Полторы тысячи. А сколько он так стоит? О, отлично. Так, сколько там сессия? Час. Час. Можно было бы, конечно, прокультивировать все это. И прополка нужна. Ну вот, 5000 я отыграл. Это хорошо. 5000 плюс. Правда, удобрений, конечно, 4000 угробил. До этого 0. Теперь 4000. Так, мне осталось купить трактор. Может поехать купить трактор. Сколько там у меня денег в банке? 25, значит у меня 34 тысячи в банке. $34 000. Что я могу купить на 34 000? Я могу купить, выкупить свое поле. Да. И потом выкупить 34 еще поле. Итого мне нужно, у меня 34, а там нужно 23. Мне не хватает 4000. Да. И в принципе с землей я закончил. Хотя может и нет, закончил. Накопить бы на свинарник хоть как-то. Культивация, посев, картофель. Нет, ребята, картофель я не буду сажать, спасибо. Картофель нет, не мой. Прополка 256, 856, 870. Все? Культивация, значит, 1070, 1080, 1080, 1140, 1470, 480. 1980, 1990, ну 2000, считай. 2600, 2800, 2900, ну 3000. Да, 3000. Культивации тут практически уже и не осталось. Интересно, сколько полей мои, то есть над которыми я поработал, сколько не мои. Ну, по посевам точно скажу, что куча полей не мои. Тут огромное количество полей без меня посеяно. А вот, ну, удобрения, в принципе, тоже. Но многое, конечно, я сделал. Очень много контрактов. Да, в принципе, можно, конечно, начать коров покупать. Или все-таки дождаться травы или зачатия. Если трава, то это овцы. Кстати, я могу лошадок купить. Интересно, а как я узнаю, что я могу лошадок купить? Стоила лошадиная. Надо посмотреть, сколько она стоит. Вот она. Будьте добры, дайте мне суду. Ого. Почти все деньги. 9000 останется. О, так оно еще и не влезет. Шикарно. Что тебе мешает? В смысле не мой участок? А так, мой участок. Ничего не понял. Ты настолько гигантская? Ну, давай вот так, хорошо. Хм. Опять не мой участок. А сколько оно? Тю. Я думал, оно... Да. Значит, лошади отваливаются. Вот курятник, вот этот я хотел курятник поставить. Там 500 курей. Но в чем плюс, что этот курятник современный. Он хоть и стационарный, но он очень выглядит круто. То есть это обычный европейский технологичный по всем параметрам курятник. И там, конечно, 500 всего, но у меня в курятнике, допустим, 400. То есть если продать всю птицу, ну почти всю, один курятник оставить открытым, то можно было бы, конечно, там. То есть у меня было бы 900 кур, в отличие от нынешнего положения. Я, конечно, вот на это коплю. Это мне, наверное, не надо. Ладно. $34 000. Ну, нормально. Мне хватит. Ну что, все. Наработался. Час 15. Еще бы 15. Еще бы 15 минут. Добить, чтобы было. Хотя бы 1,5 часа. Что там у меня по коровам? Они хотят воды. И у них кончается моносмесь. Бочку придется арендовать или купить. Нет, все-таки надо поехать трактор купить. Какой там у меня бюджет? Трактор аж 400 забирает в день. В сутки. И сеялка. Сеялка скоро, кстати, уйдет. Потому что почти все поля посеяны. Да, остались 45, 17, 174, 219, 59. Ну, там 234, еще 49 и 169. То есть буквально где-то полей 7 или 10. И все. Вот 45-е, вот большое, конечно. Вот. Но в целом, не знаю, я, наверное, 219, 234. Конечно, здоровые поля. Что там, кстати, за контракт у меня за 59-е? Что это 59-е? Ага. Оно как 219-е. Только чуть растянуто. А что ты там хочешь? Раю. Рый или Ри. Как-то это. Ри. Тут, конечно, крутое оборудование. Вот это еще, вот этот еще контрактик хороший, культивация. Ну ладно, это уже в следующий раз. Не буду сегодня уже. Хочется спадки. Хотя, ну, хороший трактор у меня соберет 11 тысяч, а не 7. Да. Кстати, я могу вот так вот сделать. Угу. А нет, не могу. 9 тысяч. 9 тысяч как-то дороговато. Да. Ой. Ладно, чем терять время.